Hello, 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 everybody. Hey, we are live from Denver. We are live. Let me get you. We are in Denver, Colorado. Come on, Miss Sam. And just come on in, come on in. Um, are you all able to? Those of you that are over here, are you all able to pull up? Or y'all pull us up? Yeah. Okay, they're pulling up. Just want to say hello, 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 hello. Can you all see? Are we getting good visuals? Let me see. Let me make this smaller. I'm talking to our. Do you all see us? Okay. I want to see the comments. You're coming in. If you're coming in, just give us your comments.
Hello, beautiful people, and I am elated being with my beautiful, precious wife of 50 years. And I am just so thankful and grateful being in this beautiful community of Denver, Colorado. And you just can't beat the sun, the heat, on and on and on. And it's just good to be here with my wife.
Well, we want to just kind of chat with those of you, but we want to see that you come on. We're going to give you a time. Those of you that are sitting out here, you all can make comments in the comment section that are live. We're on StreamYard, and we are in. This is a week before our actual anniversary, but we chose to come to beautiful Denver, Colorado, and we are being hosted by our third born, Miranda, Carolyn, Jenny, all of the grands. And so we're so excited
just
to be
delighted,
here. And
delighted.
We thought it would be fun to come in one of the spots. We just had lunch to get today, but we were talking and we were reflecting.
What do you have for lunch?
I had some salmon and a salad and some strawberry lemonade.
Okay.
What did you have?
Well, I was keeping it real. I had a fat burger and fries and some salad.
Oh, and some chips.
Yeah.
And that was my extra. But it was very good salad. It had all the fixings on it.
Yeah, all the fixings.
But the thing that we wanted to talk about was basically our journey a little bit and kind of, but we're waiting for some of you to come in. Those of you that are around here that are sitting and looking at us, please make comments in the comment section live. Not only that, share. So we don't want to start if nobody is watching. I see the love, but make comments. Let me know where you're coming in from, anywhere in the world. Anywhere in the world, you are coming in today on this Good Friday, this great Friday. You got a breeze, didn't you? Feel that breeze? It feels beautiful. There's activity behind us. We are actually in what square are we at?
Southland Square.
Southland Square is really, really nice, real fabulous area.
It sort of feels like our
Avalon in Georgia,
in Atlanta, and Alpharetta.
Hi,
area.
Genesis! Yay, Genesis in. Who else we got in coming in? Comments. Come on in. Let me know where you're coming from. Genesis is from Colorado. She is checked in. We're looking for more to come in. Come on in. Acknowledge where you're from. 50 years is a lot of time. 50 years is really a lot of time. And we've gone through so many good times and so many challenges together. And it's just so many I mean, surgeries I've had,
Yeah.
surgeries you've had,
Transitions.
children that we've had, and
Transitions and shiftings that we've had along the way. Just, not being able to maybe be and holding on to any one thing. But something that we heard early on was handle things lightly.
yeah,
Because to just think that you can just take and hold on to some things and like they become like a part of your life, it never can, never will. And so if you handle them lightly, then you already have set yourself to know if something happens, we knew to handle it, not permanently, but it was just here for a little while.
and those of you that's on here, I want you to ask us a question. Any question you want to ask, anything.
Any question?
Any question you want to ask. Now, some people say, well, 50 years, I know people with 60, but it's not a lot of us. It's really not a lot of us. And to be where we are, I challenge you to come on, and I know you're watching. Just take time and ask a question. Now, we may not have the answer, but be bold enough today to ask a question.
Be daring.
Maybe you're thinking of getting married. Maybe you don't want to get married. Maybe you're going through divorce. Maybe you just broke up. How to walk through. Ask us some things. There's a lot of wisdom. There's 100 years between the two of, 140 years between the two of us. 70, and I'm not quite 70. I'm getting there next month by the grace of God.
Yeah, I'm 70 years old.
So there's a lot of wisdom here, and we want to be available to you. So we need a question, some kind of question.
Well,
what's the worst time we had? The best time? Ask some questions.
Well, first of all, can I start?
Asking questions?
Yeah, I want to start a question.
For yourself?
For you.
Oh.
Yeah, let's start a question.
He's going to ask me a question. Okay.
Okay. When in the beginning, back in our beginnings, were you even thinking about marriage 50 years ago?
Now, to be honest with you, I was so on fire for God. It's the truth. This is the absolute truth. I used to tell people Jesus was my boyfriend.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Because when I had gotten saved at 14, which is 4 years before I met you, the people told me, you get saved right now, you don't have a boyfriend. So I went, the one guy I was calling my boyfriend, I called him up that night I got saved and said, I just got saved and filled with the Holy Ghost, and I can't be your girlfriend. Bye.
What? You dropped it?
Yeah. I believe what they taught me, and I did it. So I was not looking. I wanted to be work for the Lord.
Okay.
And serve the Lord until I met you. I still wanted to serve the Lord with you, but when I met you, I realized that us together would be great.
So if you would ask me that question.
I'm going to ask you a different question.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. All right. All right.
When you were talking to me, was there somebody else in the picture?
I wasn't. Listen, I'll be perfectly honest with you, and with our internet friends.
But you know whether you moved them out or not. But was there somebody when?
Well, you said that we can talk about anything,
right?
So I'll be real honest to say, yeah, there were other people that were in my life. But I was not mentally in that place of I'm gonna settle down and I'm about ready to get married. No, I was going to school. Now you had just struck it from your spiritual perspective during the time when I met you. You were very, very high on your salvation, your relationship with the Lord, and all of that very, very much impressed me. Where was I? I was in transition of, I know I'm about to leave home and I'm going to school. And in doing so, I knew that was going to take all of my mental, emotional, physical being and making transition, leaving home and transitioning into the collegiate life. And so that's where I was. I wasn't really thinking about, well, I'm going to find somebody and I'm going to permanently sit down. settle down and I'm gonna get married in a minute and a second. No, no. I was really enjoying my singlehood, and it was all very good.
Wow. So is there anybody out in the audience? They can't see the audience. There's an audience out here, a multitude of people that are sitting. Is there any questions that you all might have for myself or
Well, listen. Okay.
what's your question?
How did you know that this was going to be your person?
How did we know that this was going to be my person?
And how did you continue throughout the 50 years to know
Ooh.
Oh,
that this is going to be your person?
Well, I appreciate the way you define that. Go ahead. You can.
me personally, it was always a part of every year, all 50 years, that God had spoken to us in April of 1973 to marry and I will bless you. So every time I was blessed, I contributed to the obedience. We had the same testings that everybody else had, but the baseline of our relationship, I could always fall back that God said, this is my husband. And there were times I'm sure he didn't like me, and there were times I didn't like him, and there were times I wasn't willing to change, and the only thing I could do was get away in my mind. But I always would go back to the promise that my blessing was tied to our marriage. And my instruction, the Lord's instructed me that day, was I'm using your face as a shade, was to love and to cherish him. So every time I didn't want to, I was upset with him, I would do the opposite of what I felt, and that was to extend love. So I would have to say, because God created marriage, he was the author of it. He could keep the story interesting. And so marriage is a supernatural thing. It's not natural. That's why so many people don't stay in it, because they try to do it as a business contract. And it's just, it don't work like that, because Satan hates covenant. And marriage is a covenant between two people, and it's always interference. And we've had interference. We've had people, try to come between us and all of that, but we always came back to the place God told us.
Well, let me say this, that in regards to your question, I had always felt like when I entered into the covenant of marriage and looking at the words that we vowed to each other, for better, for worse, rich or poor, good time, bad time,
Sickness and health.
sickness and in health. I had always vowed that to enter into this covenant of language, that I was going to be serious. Now, I got to say to you, just as my precious wife just brought out, that I had my moments, but I never was running away from the vow of, I'm going to be here. I never thought, I'm out the door, I'm gone. I was close, but but no, no. And the other part is, when I fell in love, I fell in love. And when I knew that this is what God wanted us to do, that was hands down for me. No turning back. It wasn't just my idea, it was a God idea.
And now, a lot of times when we say God said it, but you're people. What do you, when I say God was our foundation, but we understood as we went through the years why God put us together. We are best friends. There's no secrets, there's no hidden agenda.
Yeah.
I can go in his cell phone anytime, he can go in my cell phone. We truly are a naked couple that have no hidden agendas. And what that does, it strengthens the marriage, because it's the hidden things that of distrust. There was a time when he handled the finances, and he realized that's not my area. So I handle the finances.
Yeah.
You know, because they were going to this thing of
Yeah.
being head, and people
Yeah.
didn't understand what head meant is
Yeah.
source in the
Yeah.
Bible.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you got to lead something. You have to have a gift to lead.
Yeah.
So if you didn't have a gift to be able to do business, just because you're the man doesn't necessarily mean you're good. And a smart man will allow the person who's best suited for anything. A good leader always get good people for the positions that they need to fill. It's not about trying to do something you don't know how to do just because you're a person. So one of the things, and when we look at the marriage, the three legs, we look at finances, communication, and sex. There's three legs, and any one of them can be off. But your commitment will keep you together, because there were times when I made less money than he did, and I had to stay, he had to be humble. And there are times like he makes more money than I do. We had to learn that it wasn't my money, his money, it was our money.
Yeah.
And our goals were in the same direction. So we do have individual personal accounts, but we have a joint account. So on the money, we handle it that way. The other thing in communication, like I said, we talk about everything. And we don't always talk business every day, 24 hours a day. Nobody wants to hear about bills. And so your communication is more than verbal. And one of the things that he does very well is he calls me his precious wife. And I know there are times I ain't precious. I know I ain't precious. So what do you do when your husband calls you something that you're not? He's calling it as though it was. You have it raises the standard of your attitude. But if he called me a B word, or he called me out of my name, that's gonna cause a reaction. But he has never called me out of my name. We don't ever say the D word.
No.
There's certain red lines we don't cross.
Yeah.
I don't care how bad it gets.
Yeah.
We don't cross them.
Now, you know, when you say that, I think for any and every couple, I think you must establish boundaries. And there are places that you can go, and there are places that we don't cross that line. And so, and there perhaps we don't cross it. Be honest enough to say, I'm moving towards crossing that line, so that the other person can be prepared for a comeback. But I think that in our 50 years, the thing that has intrigued me and just, if anything, just gave me momentum and fire for coming home in the evening to my wife from off the job is the fact that I fell in love with my best friend. And we do things that just really just keep love alive. And I got to tell you that these type of things that we keep, where we keep love alive, there's just many times that I know that I need to work on, I need to practice, I need to do things better. And that's something that I think that every man needs to be mindful of. If you don't do it, if you're not mindful of the fact that that precious gift that God has given you, that any and everybody could be standing on the other side and thinking and saying, she is one good, tremendous, beautiful person. Well, when you hear that, that ought to put some spring in your step to understand, yeah, you got somebody beautiful. And do you know that? And are you aware of that?
And you
so,
say whether it's little or much, whatever you have, build together. I always tell couples, do something together. Our first thing together was to put the Christmas tree together. But our home is a place that represents both of us.
Wait. Go back to putting the Christmas tree together.
Oh, that was when we first got married, in our first year of marriage.
Our first Christmas.
We always put the lights on first. And he grew up in a house, I guess they put the ornaments and all the candy and all the darling, and then put the lights on top of that. And we went back and forth, and I said, I'm out. I can't deal with this. I saw a stubbornness but I was stubborn. And so we realized from that that most of the time you stop trying to do things together when you run into stuff like that. But we forced ourselves many times to work together. In our business, we learn how to work together. He knows what he does in the business. I know what I do in the business. With the children, we were always together. We never let our children divide us.
Never.
They would come to dad and say, Dad, can I do this? He said, well, what did your mom say?
Yeah.
Or I would say, what did your dad say?
Yeah.
And so the other thing we did at 50 years later is we built our marriage where our children was not our total world. We always said that we're going to train our children to lead, but we have to have something between us.
Yeah.
That we can go out and have dinner. We can go and watch a movie. We can take a trip. And we are glad to do that because we built our lives always to have these little times where we slipped away. It might have been ice cream. It might have been sitting at the park. We always found a way to get together. And it wasn't expensive. It might have been an ice cream cone. It might have been a hamburger.
Yeah.
It might have been getting out at night and putting our feet out, going out to the pool. But you have to enjoy, even though God told us, we're not robots. Whatever God say, but I know now why God put us together.
Yeah.
And when I say this, sometimes we together, we get on each other's nerves, but when we're apart, we always on the phone.
Yeah. Yeah.
My husband got reprimanded for talking so much to me on the phone but he just want to see how I'm doing because I was dealing with some things.
Well, not only that, but see, my greater concern a lot of times would be, we had 5 children year after year after year after year after year. And so I was always mindful of the fact that we got children and she is going to be at home trying to handle them by herself. Which brings me to something else that I heard you say, that God had always been good to us in the days to weeks to months to years of growing up our children. The Lord have always been just good to us, to have a good to good setters that would literally come and tell us, I'm coming this weekend and keep the kids. Y'all go take a break.
Angie Miller, and Jamie Dennis.
Jamie,
they're on here.
My goodness.
They were young people growing up that will always help us. But one of the things, as a husband, he's not just a husband to come home and put his feet down. He changed diapers. He warmed bottles. He cleaned house. He washed clothes. We worked together. He would be the sous chef. So you bond together, not just by name, but in interacting with each other. And you find out that, together we're great. And sometimes we have built a whole business. And at the end of the day, when it was finished, we walked out and said,
we make a good thing.
We did this.
We did it. We accomplished it.
Hung all the racks, did all of the labor, set it up. And I put the business what it is. But it's not me. It was always us.
Right.
And so those are things that we built together, those things we've done together, and even things that may not have longevity, but we always did them together. We communicated that we loved each other by serving each other in the areas of my weakness. I don't paint. If I paint, it's going to be more paint on me than the wall.
Yeah.
He can paint in a tuxedo. So why would I paint? When he paints, he can paint and not get a drop of paint on the floor or on himself.
Okay, now, which that brings me to, I don't cook, but I'm working and trying to cook now. But my wife, she can throw a meal. She can do something and put it together in 20 minutes, flash time, a full, look like 5-course meal. But I don't do that, but she does. But right now, at this point, I'm really moving towards, and I want to be a cook. I know I'll never measure up to being a cook like her, but in our weaknesses, she became my strength. In her weakness, I became her strength. And so I've always been the strength with both of us. No, I'm playing.
Oh yeah, I have leaned on him, and
playing.
everybody can't understand me, but he does. Everybody don't understand him, but I do. So I know if I was the theme of this, I'm getting ready to close, right? Is that
Yeah,
okay?
yes. Oh,
The
yes.
theme of us would be is that God did a good job
Yeah,
because he does a good. We didn't know each other.
yeah,
We met in July. God spoke to us in April. We married the following year. We never consummated, done anything before. It wasn't like he was a good sex partner.
no.
God said marry. And
Yeah.
in hindsight, 50 years later, I now know, to me, God is a good God.
Yes.
Because everybody would not work with me. I know when I see something I want to do big, I've learned how to communicate. I learned how to submit. I learned how to plow. I learned how to build. I learned how to, my daughters and my grandchildren are strong. When I say strong women, they are women with vision.
Yes.
And they're women with goals. And when I sit around my granddaughters and I hear their dreams of businesses and goals, I realize that they have been watching. And our prayer today, and so my husband, his boys and sons are builders, and they build, they have great visions. But our prayer at 70 and 50 years behind is that we have impacted our grandchildren.
Yes.
That some may say, I don't want to get married because I don't see any marriages that I want to be like, that they say, yes, there is.
Yes.
Not because we said it,
Yeah.
but because they've seen the receipts.
Yeah.
They've seen us under pressure. They've seen me in the hospital and him at my bedside. They've seen him in the hospital with me at the bedside.
Yeah.
They've seen us abound and they've seen us abase.
Yeah.
And so for that reason, we submit this to those of you that marriage is God's idea and it is beautiful.
Yes.
And the vows
Yes.
you keep
Yes.
are the vows he made.
Wow, that's really that makes for a good closer. I just want to wish and bless my wife with 50 more
I
years.
was gonna sing a song.
Oh my goodness, no! Please don't do that to me.
On next Thursday, we'll be on. When we get back, we're gonna do a live that we've been posting, and you're gonna sing to me then, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now y'all heard him.
Well, there.
Why don't we go out with the song that we sang to each other on
my
our wedding day? We're gonna go out with this. Is that okay? Okay. This was written by Dolores Blakely for us. No. Thou art. Now start out.
Thou art mine.
Thou art mine.
Mine today.
Mine today.
Thou art mine.
Thou art mine.
Mine always.
Mine always. This is the day that the Lord has made.
Close it.
Let it be forever and always. Let it be forever and always. Let it be forever and always.
Bye, y'all.
God bless you.